Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Agent's Edge. My name is Ryan Polimeni. Today we're going to talk about simplifying the financial planning process for your clients. Now, again, for those of you that know my story, you know I started in the life insurance world. I never thought about financial planning. I was out there chasing a lead. Right? And a lot of you are probably doing the same thing that are watching it. You're going out, you're writing a life insurance, and you're moving on. But there's so much more to that family that needs your help than just going in, writing a life insurance policy, and leaving. And you're leaving a lot of production on the table as well by not thinking about this. So for 6 years, that's all I did. Door to door, sell, move on to the next, chase a lead. And I got tired of doing it one day. And maybe some of you watching are going like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm reliving my same year over and over. What I mean by that, you go out and you make the same amount of sales, make the same amount of money. It's a repetitive thing over and over again. So 5 years ago, I was like, something has to change. I need to develop a sales process that not only allows me to go out and make a sale, feed my family, make money, pay my bills like everybody else watching, but also how to go and take it to the next level. And so one of the things that I started thinking about was, how do I start doing what I call a more holistic financial plan for a family? Let me give you a couple ideas of what that entails and what that includes, and I think that'll make a big difference for you in your sales process. So holistic planning is covering everything financially related, starting from foundational planning. Foundational planning is, number one, making sure we know how many income streams are coming in retirement, making sure all the basics are covered, the life insurance, college planning, IUL tax-free retirement planning, any old 401k rollovers that are possible. For those of you that are doing assets under management, is there any assets under management rollovers possible, AUM, right? Maybe they have an old brokerage account or an old 401k that they want to grow because they're young and maybe the annuity isn't the right fit for them. So this is why you have to have all these tools in your toolbox as well. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't do wealth management in your firm, I highly recommend partnering with somebody that can help you with that, because when I brought in wealth management to our firm, it took it to a whole nother level. But holistic planning covers a little bit of everything. So when you start becoming more of a holistic planner, you're going to have to learn different areas of your business. And again, I'm talking to the financial advisors and the financial planners and the life insurance people here for a second. You're going to have to learn things like how Social Security works. You're going to have to know the basics of tax planning. You're going to have to know how to figure out what a long-term and a short-term financial plan looks like for somebody. And I'll give you a couple examples. If you're developing a short-term financial plan for your clients, again, go back, you need life insurance, you need short-term financial planning, which covers income planning. Because what I know is this: most people that you come across do not have a pension. Pensions are a dying breed. So for those of you that are trying to figure out, well, how do I do better with annuity sales? Your topic of conversation should be this simple. Let me show you how to develop a private pension for you and your family. That's what an annuity does. So if we're talking about simplifying finances for a second, let's simplify the annuity process. What is an annuity? Well, I can tell you an annuity does three things very well. And for those of you, I know some of you are going to argue with me on this. I promise you, I'll do our $15 million in annuity production this year because of how simple we keep it. And so when I'm working with a client, I talk to a client about an annuity does three things very well. Number one, it preserves your principal. What does that mean? That means you put money into a fixed index annuity. The market burns to the ground the next day, you're not going to lose any. Number two, it provides a lifetime income that you could never outlive. So what did we just solve, right? We just solved you helping your clients, if they don't already have a pension, create a private pension for them and their family. Think about how important that is. If you don't work for the state, for the federal government, most of your clients don't have that pension. You get to now solve that problem by creating it. And it's a very simple question. When you are working with your clients, you need to do a better job of fact finding. And I promise you, when I was out selling life insurance, I didn't even think about fact finding. My fact finding was, how much insurance do you need? Why'd you fill out this form? And let's get this done now. Like, that was it. But when you start thinking about holistic planning, your questions become different. They become more detailed, right? They become more probing sometimes. Why? Because in order to find the problem, and you're going to fill that problem with the solution, you need to know first what the problem is. So you got to find the hot button. And again, you may be there to just sell mortgage protection. That's perfectly fine. But I promise they need more. So here's a question you can ask. If you didn't, I'm teaching you how to uncover annuities here for a second. One of the questions that I started asking was, during my fact-finding process, I would always say this: outside of this life insurance policy that we're going to get today, right? We're making the assumption that people are going to buy from you. That's part of the problem. A lot of you don't assume the sale. Assume the sale. Outside this life insurance policy that we're going to put in place today, what other assets do you have that would protect your family if you died today? Now think about that for a second. Think about the psychology of that question. The psychology of that question says most people who don't speak financial terms are going to go, what do you mean by assets? And that's exactly the question that you want. If they say, well, what do you mean by assets? Well, do you have any 401ks? Do you have any IRAs, any brokerage accounts, any inheritances, anything that'll allow you to be able to pass money on to your family when you pass away? You see, now that opens the door for your holistic planning to begin. It was that simple. But the problem is a lot of people are not asking the right questions to get the right answers, right? If you want great answers, you have to ask great questions. And a lot of you are not doing that. So I want to fix that today, right? This is part of building your practice to the next level. And think about this for a second. If you want to become more profitable, you went in and you bought a lead, and normally you go and sell a life insurance policy. But what if in that same lead, you were able to find the annuity opportunity, or maybe an IUL opportunity to help build a tax-free retirement plan? Now you've made 2 sales on that one lead versus just one that you normally would have made. You see, that allows you to be more profitable, but that comes with becoming a more holistic planner. So, again, annuity does 3 things. I told you, number 1, preservation of principal. Number 2, provides a lifetime income that your family can never outlive. The third thing it does is passes assets very, very well to your family. What does that mean? That means that if you get an annuity, let's say you put in $200,000 and you take the lifetime income and you die and there's still $100,000 left in that pot of money, your family gets the other $100,000 as a death benefit. We call it the beneficiary. You see, that's part of holistic planning. That leads you into a more long-term conversation with your clients. And what do I mean by long-term? Well, let's say your client is 62 and they're retiring today, and you have helped them build the foundation of their retirement. You know that they have enough income coming in to cover all of their expenses. You know that the insurance needs are fully taken care of. Now you start talking about things like, all right, what about Social Security? What does Social Security look like? When do we start planning for it? When do you want to take it? How does that add to your income? What does that do to your tax bracket when you start receiving that income? How much of it's taxable? You see, I'm asking these questions to you, and if you're watching this and you're in the financial world and you don't know how to answer those, you need to start studying that. Because I promise you, I didn't know how to answer that question 5 years ago. When I figured it out and I learned it, it took my business to a whole nother planet. I promise you. It was life-changing because your clients start looking at you differently. They stop looking at you as the insurance man, which just used to get so far under my skin, it wasn't even funny. Whenever you know what I'm talking about. When you're in the house and they get that phone call and they're like, yeah, the insurance man's here or the insurance lady's here, I would cringe. I hated being known as that. Not because I wasn't helping somebody, but because I knew that I could do more for them than just be the insurance person, right? I wanted to be their financial planner. I wanted to be their advisor, but I wasn't there yet. And when I started learning these different elements of what a holistic plan looks like, and I started implementing them in my sales process, they started calling me different. They started calling me their advisor. They started saying, my planner's here. And that was a different feeling. That allowed me to say, in my mind, go, we're doing something right? And they started listening to me at a higher level. How many of you have ever been in a house and you talk about life insurance and you've been told to ask for annuities, and you ask an annuity question, or you ask if they have an old 401k, and they look at you like, what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about? You don't know how to approach it. You haven't approached it properly. And that's what I'm trying to teach you is to understand how to approach it. Now, listen, I know I have a limited time here with you today. I built an entire training system called Level Up Advisors Academy that talks about this for over 20 hours. So if you want to learn how to really dive deep into this sales process, and again, I'm giving you some top level stuff here because I can't dive deep in it. But I've got 20 hours of content on my training system. Be sure to pick that up. If you really want to get to the next level and see what I did, year by year, day by day to get to a $20 million company, you need to make sure you get the system. But again, it allows you to ask better questions. It allows you to have a different feeling. It allows your clients to think about you differently. Then you start talking about long-term planning. What about the, RMDs when they come up? What's an RMD? It's a required minimum distribution. If you're not talking about that with your clients, you're doing them injustice. Why? Because if they're not taking enough money out of their 401ks, TSPs, anything traditional, and all of a sudden the RMD says you should be taking $10,000 a year more, what does that do to their financial plan? How does that change their tax situation? You see, I promise you this, when you start creating space between you and your competition, life becomes easier. Because here's what I have found in 5 years of holistic planning. My clients, my competition aren't talking about this to my clients. They're talking about a few things. If you're battling a wealth manager, fortunately, most of the time, they're talking about, give me your money, let me grow it for you. They're not talking taxes. They're not talking Social Security planning. They're not talking about long-term financial planning with taxes and required minimum distributions. They're not talking about estate planning. So if you very simply want to start creating space between you and the competition, you start talking about these things, but you have to know what you're talking about. So again, your job is to do what I call taking the complexity out of what your clients feel is a complex situation. That's finances. Take the complexity out of a complex situation, your clients will begin to trust you more, they will listen to you more, and you'll learn how to develop a deeper relationship with them than you've ever thought possible, where they come to you and ask for your advice. And by the way, they will also refer more business to you. So again, simplify the financial planning process for your clients. It'll change your world. Guys, thanks again so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful for you. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe on the bottom, and leave a comment. If this was helpful for you, let us know. Don't forget, all of this that I just went over is in Level Up Advisors Academy. We'll see you on the next show. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of The Agent's Edge. Listen, if you've ever want to take your business to the next level, you want to write over $5 million a year in life insurance, assets under management, big whole life cases, click the link below to get access to Level Up Advisors Academy. Listen, this is a 24/7 on-demand platform for you to be able to learn and grow on how to take your business to the next level. I look forward to working with you in the future.